Do-do-do. Yo, 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 what's up, guys? This is super exciting. Today is patch note day, and there's been a lot of buzz about what wants to be changed and what not. And with Ari, Kennen, and Pantheon being some of the top decks, going into the expansion, I do think they need to be touched in a little bit of capacity. This is right now 1 minute right after the patch notes have been released, so this is the freshest it's gonna get. The first time seeing it for me, I have no idea what's in here. I heard it's a small change for sure, but as long as the decks that I think want to get impacted, it'll be huge. So let's start scrolling. So yeah, we know the Curious expansion, the Gnar, Udyr, Galio, and Yumi are coming into the game with all their support cards and things like that. So we know that. Yep, yep, yep. New cards. We've seen all the new cards. I didn't really get to review them, but Yumi is pretty interesting. I think the support cards are a lot more interesting than just Yumi herself. But the ability to scale is kind of good, especially with the faded cards. Galio is I'm not sure what I think about Galio. He seems okay to easy-ish to level, and the formidable keyword as a whole is really interesting. There's definitely a lot of build around and synergy there, so very excited to see what turns out there. Sunsetting expeditions. I guess I will talk very slightly about expeditions. For those of you who are unaware, expeditions is closing down in May, so you still have 3 months to enjoy expeditions. Um, but expeditions has always been a little bit of like a branch, right? It's always been something on the side that LOR hasn't really focused on. There haven't really been huge improvements made to it. They don't really work on it too much. But for me, the kind of draft format, if you guys played Hearthstone, very similar to how Arena worked. These are some of my more favorite. These are like some of my favorite game modes when I was a much more casual player. And when I started off playing Runeterra, I played a lot of expeditions, and it was a great way to just get familiar with the new cards and just it's not very complicated. It's just about tempo, about just trading off cards. So a very, very dumbed down version of the game that I think is really cool and useful for beginning players. I do know that they mentioned that they want to have a another sort of draft format that they're working on in replacement for expeditions. So I'm very excited to see what comes out of that. But for me, it's a little bit of a nostalgia trip where I really enjoyed expeditions when I was really new to the game. It was really fun. I really liked it coming from Hearthstone, and it's definitely a little bit sad to see it go. But I'm excited for what replaces it, because if it's some sort of competitive draft format that some of my friends Jason Florent and What Am I really are trying to hype up, that's going to be really cool. So that's that. New challenges. Yep, there's going to be a with the expansion. There's going to be a event pass with things like that. And our new have been added out the champions. It's pretty cool. I'm probably not going to play that, but here are the fun stuff. Oh, I already see Ari. Okay. Card updates. You get Ari to a 2/2. Okay. I think this is what a lot of people have expected. Ari being able to just chump block like once makes it really pivotal to just slowing down some more aggressive game plans. Now that Ari's a 2/2, she really can't block anything. She can block like one health stuff, but there's not a lot of that in going around, especially within some more aggressive decks. So I think a lot of people were expecting this slight change to Ari's health total. Um, I think the issue. So what this affects realistically is the aggressive matchups, right? Ari just can't block on turn 2 and survive to swing to recall, right? In other matchups that already were trying to target Ari, such as the more removal heavy decks, they have a better matchup now, right? Because now a Mystic Shot is able to threaten Ari instead of like a Get Excited or a Thermal Beam or something that did 3 damage, right? So Ari being easier to kill makes the favored matchups, or the matchups that we're trying to beat up Ari Kennen better. But this doesn't, I'm not sure if this affects the matchups Ari Kennen was crushing, right? So we have to see what the other cards do. Maybe Ari Kennen just becomes more polarized as a deck, which I think is a pretty like interesting way to change decks that we've seen a lot with like Lee Sin when like mini morphers were released, things like that, right? So been an elusive target to pin down most decks. This change makes her more susceptible to target removal. Yep. Makes it easier to set up blocks against her, take her out. Yep. Yep. I agree. So this is a very healthy change overall. It doesn't really affect the deck as much. It just makes the deck more polarized, given that Ahri is just slightly weaker. Ooh, Iceborne Legacy does 6 mana focus. So this is good. I was interested that they actually changed the cost of Iceborne Legacy. I do like focus speed though, because now you have to pre-commit before going to combat, right? A lot of the times, you could like using Iceborne Legacy as like a combat trick seemed like an unreasonable opportunity. It was just so weird, like just commit this on stack and suddenly just try kind of blow out your opponent because they decided to block your units. Now this means that you have to force it pre-combat, you can't use it during combat and things like that, which is really good. There's also some niche cases where like you have an Elise attacking that generates an extra spider. If you had that spider attacking and then they block something and then you can Iceborne, I guess that doesn't really matter. There's some very niche cases where this would actually make a huge difference, but otherwise, again, it makes it less abusable, which I think is good. The mana cost increase is relevant. It's definitely more relevant for a deck like Boros, which was a super mana efficient deck. You really needed to count each mana, and Poros is definitely going to hit a lot. Not that Poros was like super strong or meta oppressive or anything like that. Spiders variant, you play Elise on turn 2, and then you play Iceborne Legacy on turn 4. That really hasn't changed much. You can still play like you still have the mana to play like crawling sensations. So for like an Iceborne Legacy Spiders deck, I don't think this changes it that much. But overall, I do agree with the focus changes. This has been a change that when I saw the buff, if you go back to the last patch video where I was like, why is this focus and not burst? Here you go. I really like this change. Wounded White Flame to 2/3. Yeah, I saw this as well. This is just a slight change. Same with the AHRI. 4 health with Faded was just insane. Being able to buff it to a 6/7 or 6 or 7 health just with one spell was really insane. Um, this 3 health. This card is still nuts. There's no changing that. Um, I don't think this is gonna affect the card that much. Like, it's unlikely that on the turn you play White Flame, it's able to die because you always have a spell to protect it and the Faded proc goes off, right? So it's very limited to like 6 mana Thermo Beam on turn 3, right? And in that case, you're already pretty happy. So this change, I think, doesn't really affect it that much. But it's just, I think that the card should have been printed as a 2/3. But overall, I think this power level is still very high. This is the big one. Kinku Wayfinder. Unfortunately, I did see somebody spoil this on Twitter for me, but this is huge. Kinku Wayfinder, 4 mana. It used to summon 2 different 1-cost allies. Now it only summons 1 ally, which is huge. This is so big. Because not only was the Kinku Strength able to like help you tutor out Droplet from your deck, or like when you have like 3 different 1-drops, getting 2 out of the 3 is like a 66% chance to get Droplet, right? But the strongest outside of that, the strongest thing of Kinku Wayfinder was just being 3 units for 1 action, right? In Runeterra, 1 action, 1 card being 1 action being 1 unit was very pivotal, right? Because when your opponent develops 1 unit, that's 1 action, but you play Kinku Wayfinder, that's 1 action for 3 units, and then all of a sudden you just really gum up the board and just have really good blocks, right? So you can continuously summon Kinku Wayfinders, and your opponent's board-based deck could just never get through, right? This is like the AHRI, not the AHRI, but the Lulu Fizz Yordle Arms matchup into the AHRI KENNEN, where they just go wide, and then you play Kinku Wayfinder and go equally wide, right? Now the ability to only summon 1/1-cost ally from your deck, not only does it hurt the ability to go wide, it hurts the ability to consistently get Droplet out of the deck. And I think this change just guts the deck. This is huge. They nerfed it once already from 2 allies into 2 different allies and not only 1 ally. This is huge. maybe this expands how you want to play Kennen Ari or just Ari in general now that you start removing away from the allegiance side of things. Because now this is not a payoff, right? I think this is a very, very small payoff for what it's doing. And I no longer think that if you play R, you want to play it in an allegiance shell. So this is huge. Absolute value engine monster. Absolute value engine monster. I wonder who at Riot typed that out. But that's that's pretty funny. We don't usually hit the same multiple times. It's clear that was a key abusable part. I agree. This was definitely the one of the strongest cards within the deck. Now there might be an incentive to build it elsewhere, or Ari just gets absolutely gutted. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see with the expansion. Thanks for reading. Yep. Uh, just some champ spins. If you guys, I mentioned earlier, it's gonna be this whole event pass, things like that. They're releasing a bunch of new skins with it. I saw this. The arcade battle event pass. This is a Nivea, guys. I love this one. This is so funny. This is a Nivea. Which is kind of funny because Nivea was this bird and now it's like the bird plane. This is hilarious. I love this one so much. Um oh, they even gave it a skin. Alright, let's watch it. Come on. That was a little abrupt. That animation looked a little bit strange. Not gonna lie, but that is really, really funny. We have Arcade Misfortune, I believe. Also really cool. Oh, she also has a skin? Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, not a skin, but a level up animation. Oh, Quinn got an arcade skin too? And that's Arcade Nar. Arcade... That's also Nar, I guess. Alright, that's pretty sick. Arcade Misfortune, Arcade Quinn. These arcade skins also honestly look pretty cool. They're not really my kind of vibe, but overall these look really cool. Oh, what I absolutely love about these skins that they've been doing is that their spawn or like their token cards. So like Valor, right, gets a skin, which honestly I think is super cool. I love it when they do this. They did it with the Spiderlings. They did it with Maokai's Saplings. I love it. Um, oh, that's Ziggs. That's pretty sick. Nar. Yep. Ekram. That's honestly pretty cool. And then Nocturne. There's a lot of skins to this one, which I'm pretty surprised by. This one looks pretty sweet too. All these look pretty sweet overall. Vagar, some boards. Yep. That's the end of it. Unless there's some miscellaneous stuff at the very, very end. Arcade Battle Pass. Make sure you get it, guys. The Battle Pass is always good value. Expeditions, yada yada. Bug fixes. Okay. Fix an issue where Pantheon is getting more keywords than intended when leveling up. I never knew this was a thing. uh, yeah. We're receiving buffs from single combat. Oh, I see. That's kind of interesting because single combat. So these work by when you slay enemy unit with or slay unit with a spell, but I assume this is slay with a unit, not a spell. So that's kind of cute. Fix an issue where Station Archivist was only placing cards from the top 5 cards on your top deck. This is kind of big. This was actually like a bug that was like actually kind of OP. So this change is actually just pretty pleasant. Blah 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 and blah blah blah. Okay, overall like pretty cool. I think Ari Kennen definitely got gutted quite a bit. If it didn't get gutted, it overall just got more polarized. I think this is the Ari Kennen. This is very, very similar to what happened to Azirelia. Um, and I think that's kind of where Ari Kennen's spot gets relegated. I don't see Ari Kennen in its current form being anywhere close to the top anymore. I think it's still strong. You still have sign in and you still have droplet recall, which overall is still very fine. You still have the notifies and the denies. I think the deck can still be very strong, but the specific hit like Wayfinder is huge. It is a fearsome blocker, but I don't know. Only something with one cost ally from your deck. I don't see this being a viable way to build AHRI Kennen anymore. So I'd be interested to see what sort of non-allegiance AHRI Kennen or AHRI decks come out of it. But I think AHRI Kennen definitely got hit the hardest. With a White Flame, this is just a, this is a needed change, but it doesn't really affect what the card does that much. For sure, it does affect when you're trying to like Zenith Blade in, someone can single combat like a 3 attack unit into it. That can matter, but again, you always have combat tricks up when you play this card, or you have Dragon Town that buffs it up anyways. Ice Storm Lexi need to change. I don't think Sand Soldier, no one is playing. And of course, Slot Bots. The guys writing this are great. I love the focus speed change. I don't I didn't really appreciate how you could just cast it during combat. It didn't really make sense to me. But overall, the changes are very healthy. Honestly, I think I could have just touched Arya and the deck would have been alright. But I agree with this change. But overall, very healthy changes. I'm very excited to see how the new decks shape up, and I'll be playing a lot of those tomorrow. But I guess for now, you can watch all the pre-release people playing it over on Twitch. So go support our fellow content creators out there. But hope you guys are equally excited for the new patches I am. And if you guys have any decks that you want to see me play on the first day, please include them down below in the description, or not in the description, in the comments. I need some decks to play, and if you guys have any ideas, that would be a huge help. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you made it to the end, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out, and take care.